Political Affairs Analyst Kenneth Ikenwa joins me on the news for more updates. Good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me on.
So, I mean, just looking at the number of states, 31, and every region seems to want additional states. I want to get your reaction to this at a time where we're grappling with economic challenges.
Nigerian state is a state in evolution. Democracy is supposed to bring about these strategic questions, whether Nigeria at this stage and state of our political evolution is ready for this. Now, this issue of state creation and the agitation for more states would usually have a political undertone. And it's very important that we bring some dialectics to the subject matter, especially when we try to be analysis so that we, the collective paralysis that may be associated with whether some people want this for their personal benefits or some want this for their personal ambitions. But the truth must be told. At the stage we find ourselves economically, is it something that we should be considering? I think that the good ideas that come with state creation come with the fact that it brings governance closer to the people and it balances the development equation. But when you look at the present political calculus of Nigeria that defines the Nigerian state, the idea begs the question whether we should be focusing more on integration or we should be emphasizing more about our differentiation or the differences about us. The call for more creation of states actually emphasizes more of our differentiation. I think more collective efforts should be channeled in direction of how we build ourselves up economically and how we restructure ourselves economically.
I just want to quickly comment, apologies for butting, but because you mentioned the issue of bringing governance, to the people, isn't that what the local government areas are meant to do? And they haven't even been able to achieve that, except for now that autonomy has now been granted to them.
Yes, I mean, and that compounds the calculus itself, because if the local governments are in existence and they've not been even allowed to, perform the constitutional functions they ought to perform, then creating more states will bring more bureaucratic burdens and will bring more administrative burdens to even the areas. There are states in Nigeria, for instance, that cannot even pay the minimum wage, and then you are advocating for the creation of more states. So we must look at the issues holistically and be more futuristic in our admission with respect to what we actually need. I am not of the view that this should be what we should be looking at right now. We should be looking at how we can build ourselves up more for growth and development.
But in terms of, you mentioned looking at it holistically, and I wanted to talk about the Southeast region. Some people would say, look, for that region, it's a bit justified when we're talking about equity and ensuring that, the geopolitical zones have, parity when it comes to the number of states.
Well, if I was in America, I would have asked to plead the Fifth Amendment, the fifth on that, because the issue of how many states actually comprise a particular geopolitical zone, like I said, comes with lots of political undertones. But let us face the facts. That shouldn't be the major issue that we should be considering right now as a nation. How well are we doing in terms of meeting with standards of living? How well are we doing in terms of removing people from poverty? How well are we doing in terms of ensuring that basic education saturates the entire federation? If some states are not able to meet up with minimum wage, if some states have to wait, for allocation from the center before they can pay salaries, if some states have been dubbed just civil service states where there's no serious, meaningful, productive economic activity, then it begs the question, why are we singing the song for the creation of more states? That's why I said we must be more holistic, we must be more futuristic, and we must face the matter so that we don't begin to create states that end up becoming a paradox of what is good, which eventually turns out to be bad and turns out to be unprofitable for those who are actually constituent members of that state.
And there is no doubt that this is going to become a subject of debate in the coming days. Thank you so much for your time. Public Affairs Analyst Kenneth Ikenwa.
Always my pleasure.